in the larger sense of why do we do this is so future generations and people currently feel the freedom to be who they are and know that they deserve happiness. There's no legislation, there's nobody that has the power to take that if you don't consent to giving it away.
2017 was a big year for a lot of reasons. I think looking back, work is the biggest thing that was happening in 2017, but it's also when our family started to begin to be a family.
Yeah, I think 2017 was a hectic year for all three of us, but like Ari said, kind of the beginning to where we are now. Um, Emmett and I met during work, but Ari was coming with Emmett pretty frequently to Austin. So I got to know both of them really at the same time. We took it really slow. I think it was important for our family. Emmett and Ari had experienced, harm and hurt before, and I think it was important to all three of us to make sure that we were going at a pace that Ari wanted to. And so we didn't rush anything, we didn't push anything. I remember one of the first things that I told Emmett was like, I am not here to be Ari's parent. Like, I'm here to be a pal. I'm here to listen. I'm here to just kind of blend in. And I think like that was the right approach for our family. And so Emmett and I dated about 2 years before we had all moved in together in Houston. And that took a lot of planning and conversations around what that would look like. But we took it slow.
I don't know. My biggest concern for you always has been that I don't want you to get hurt. You're a very caring person and you care very wholeheartedly about absolutely everything, which is something that like I really appreciate about you.
We had a lot of communication, which I think helped a lot, even though you were, 17. I think looking back on wanting to make sure you were part of the conversation and the pace that you had agency and being able to voice where you were at was something that has helped us to this day. When we came together, because Andrea was so much of, I'm not here to try to be your parent or like tell you what our relationship will be. It really gave the space for now, sometimes I'm like, Ari's closer with you than me. What's going on?
When you changed your name to Ari, you and I, because Dad was on a work trip, I think, and then we had a conversation about, I would say like at least an hour, hour and a half, and you like explained to me what your name meant, like all the things, and then your dad came home from his trip, and you were like, I'm gonna go by Ari now. And it was like a 10-minute conversation. And then I like went back and I was like, so these are the things that Ari and I talked about as, it pertains to their name.
Well, it was a lot of justification because I think also in that time frame when I came out, I think the goal was like to make it easier on everyone when I came out initially of not even necessarily like having consideration of others, but like making it easier for it to click in people's minds because I think people have a very specific idea of what it means to be a non-binary person based off like what gender you're born as. But that was pretty much kind of what consumed my mind the first time that I came out of like, I need to make this easier for other people. And when I finally chose a name that I felt comfortable with, it was a lot of unpacking that, like, why when I'm finally making this decision for myself, am I factoring in other people and their perceptions of who I am? Because that's not going to change no matter what. But it took a lot of like, I think mental gymnastics for me to get to that point because before I had been so focused on like what are other people going to respect faster? What are other people going to understand faster versus like what makes me happy? What do I feel comfortable with? What do I like connect with?
Ari and I had like a really in-depth conversation. I thought it was super cute that they like showed me the like Korean characters of their name too. But I think like for me, when Ari changed their name, like they already identified me as their mom. And I think as their parent, I felt a little heartbroken that I work so hard in the arena that I do that like my kid felt that they had to conform so that they would be accepted, and not like, oh, you're one of those non-binary people, right? Which like that shouldn't even be the case, but unfortunately it is still, despite the work that we do day in and day out. But I know that's how I felt, like not that I disappointed my kid, but that my kid is holding all this weight on them of like what it means to conform when they shouldn't have to, because of the work that I do and Emmett does.
Yeah, I think for me, it was a reminder of if our kid is wrestling with this so much and they know that they're unconditionally and deeply loved and will be respected and recognized, and what does that look like for so many other kids who are in households where they're wondering, will my parents love me after I talk to them about this? And so for me, it was kind of just a moment of heartbreak, I think, too, because of the work that we do. And also, as parents, all we can want is for Ari to feel as empowered to chase their joy and feel loved and supported and encouraged in finding that. So I think it was a mixture of happiness that they were finding their way, they were understanding themselves in a deeper way, and I think felt like they could be who they are more wholly and fully in this world. It was definitely a moment where we had a lot of conversations of just remembering all the kids that are in households, and I think a really poignant reminder of why we continue to do the work we do.
I don't think any of us have really ever known a life without pressure, without responsibility, without adversity in whatever shape that it takes. So I do think that's something that we've always kept close to us is joy, because especially, there's so many things in the line of work that our family does, just in Texas in general, that can really deeply affect you and does really deeply affect us and our community. But at the same time, I think what we do best as a family is create those spaces where people can relax and feel joy and unwind and just kind of like be human and be very silly for a few moments.
Yeah. One thing in talking about joy, right, is we prioritize that as a family, but also in our work, we talk a lot about, despite the attacks and everything else, our work is surrounded by joy. If we're only doing things to have a response or to be the first kind of to report something bad, right, that's not us actually doing our work, for trans people, for queer people. And I think like that's really entrenched in our family.
The whole motivation behind the work we do is joy, and in respect to agency, because how can you really, I think, be able to fully experience joy if you can't be who you are. It's a very, I think, sort of boiled down simple reality of if you can't show up in this world authentically and honestly, it to have and possess joy is going to be really challenging. And at the end of it, like that's I think what I hope for everybody, trans people, cis folks, queer or not, is to be able to have confidence and know that they're perfect just the way they are, as who they are, and be able to own that and be confident in the world.
I think in this work, something that especially trans organizing in the South has taught all of us is that joy is one of the strongest weapons that our community has, that our family has, that we have as individuals. Because, you know, the point is to make us feel hopeless, to make us not want to connect, to make us feel isolated, all these things. And when we're able to lead with joy and spread it and just take it with us, like wherever we go, whatever situation we're in, you're able to see those things be undone. Getting to share that with your community, with your loved ones, I think is something really special that we've worked really, really hard to be able to have for ourselves and share with our community.
Emmett says it a lot, like that we all stand on the shoulders of greats that are no longer with us, and you know, some people who are still, and we're really fortunate for that. But I think like we very much talk about like the people who brought us here, the people who continue to be in the space with us, and also so that like younger people can learn that I think our whole family says it, that all of this did not start in 2017 or in 2015. It's been a long road, and it'll continue to be a long road. And we're just, you know, kind of one stop on the map, so to speak.
Especially the line of work that we do, if you're not doing it with a full deep understanding that you won't see the product of what you're working towards in your lifetime, in the larger sense of why do we do this, is so future generations and people currently feel the freedom to be who they are and know that they deserve happiness. And there's no legislation, there's nobody that has the power to take that if you don't consent to giving it away. Being a Korean adoptee, I think, has like the most major impact on my relationship with, I don't know. It took me until I was like maybe 5 or 6 when I realized I didn't look white like my mom. I came home very upset. But one thing that my mom did, and I think we continue to do, was the link through food and where I come from, who I am. She was really intentional about making sure that I ate Korean food growing up. I think when Ari came, it deepened my sense of what that meant in my whole identity, and also wanting to be able to be more proud and claim that part of my identity, since it was such a big factor in how the world perceives me and sees me.
I think living in Houston has also helped our family understand Korean roots more. The ability to even go to H Mart, right? Like the ability to see other Korean people in cluster communities, I know has been something that you both have talked about, of the ability to like see yourselves, see your community in also the place that you call home. I know I've seen that as transform as our family has come together more, to the point that like, you know, you even make Korean dishes at this point. Like, that wasn't a thing that was happening when we first started dating.
Food has always been a big touch point for our family. But I also think it goes deeper than like food is an easy access point, in the sense that food is important to us because being part of a mixed race family, being Asian, being uh, Mexican, like food is a huge part of how you care for your community. Food is a huge part of like just, you know, like a physical manifestation of your heart and your care. And as a family, we really believe in that and kind of use it as a base of how we create our home, create the spaces we're in, all those things. I think that's something that it's the place that I see our culture show up the most, and what we share with people is kind of our ability to create those spaces of love and care that are rooted in just like providing and letting people be as they are.
Emmett talks a lot about the ability for people to feel hope, and that comes through storytelling. I think storytelling allows people to show their full selves versus, we talk a lot about this in our work where our opposition tries to put so many people in boxes, and there are times where we do that to ourselves. And when you have storytelling occur, right, in such a natural form, so many other things get picked up that showcase who somebody is entirely. That isn't somebody else trying to say, well, this is who you are and this is the only piece that really matters, right? Because that's not reality.
Storytelling is such a deep, powerful tool for sustainability and understanding where you've come from and what your people have overcome. I really credit most of the like pride that I'm able to have in the Korean part of my identity coming through different like sources of storytelling.
I'm grateful for our family. I agree with Ari on the spaces that we create and the things that we hold together. I don't know, sitting here, I'm like, wow, we do have a great kid. Um, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of everything our family has overcome and still continues to overcome despite it all. Or in spite of it all. You know what I'm saying?
We love spite. Spite
do.
fuels us.
My, like, of all the things and all the things that make me who I am, being a dad, being a husband are the two most important things to me, and the most grounding roles that I have. I think anytime that we get a chance to come together and reminisce or talk, it reminds me of all the things that are good in my life. So now you get
Your
to say
parents
how
went,
great,
so now you
Why are
can
you
talk
all looking
about
so expectant?
how great your parents are.
Okay.
how much you love Dad.
No, I am very grateful to be part of this family, to be loved and supported by this family. And I think something, especially now that I'm away from our family home so much now, that I realize that I really appreciate about our family is that y'all have really taught me to keep that joy and authenticity close to my heart, because I think it's something that we all need right now. And it's something that I think it's really special that we've been able to find it and build it with each other, especially when I think everything right now in the world is telling you that we shouldn't have this joy, we shouldn't have what we do. I think I'm never not thankful for that.
Now nice things about me.
Your watch is very shiny and